Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have this really fun black and red card to share with you. So let's jump right in. So I am going to start by cutting down my cardstock, and Amber of course is here, and I left her sitting there so you guys could enjoy her in all her glory. She didn't like the little thump of the cutting there, but she did stay, so it was okay. So I'm going to create my base for my Slimline card, and I like to take my small trimmer and I cut 4 inches off of my standard size piece of cardstock. So my base ends up being 3.5 by 8.5 once it's scored, which is what we're doing here. So it's 8.5 by 7 inches and then scored at the 3.5 inch mark. That is my preferred size for Slimline bases, but there are thicker ones if you want to do a larger size. That's no wrong way to do it. This is just kind of my preference. And then I'm going to cut down a couple of different layers. I brought in the Pink Fresh Slim Diagonal Stitched Rectangle dies, and I'm going to cut out a couple of different layers. So this white piece is going to end up on the inside of the card design. And then I'm going to use 2 layers for this kind of border piece I want to add onto the front of the card. So I kind of started here by thinking I was going to put this larger piece of black cardstock in, and then I did actually end up trimming it down a little bit. You're not going to see it because I did it right there, but I did trim down this piece of cardstock so that it wasn't quite as large when it went through my die cutting machine. And then that's going to give me this really fun kind of border piece that I'm going to put on the card. And the next we're going to go into doing some clear embossing on black. I don't think I have ever done a card in this color combo. You guys know, as a general rule, if you've been with my channel for a while, red is not a color I gravitate towards. I tend to use pink in its stead. So if like I'm going to create a rainbow, I'm more likely to use pink than red, just because I prefer it. There's no reason, there's nothing wrong with red. I just don't gravitate towards it. So this is kind of an odd color combo for me, but I had a lot of fun with this. So I am going to use the Tim Holtz Floral, I think it's Floral Trims is the name of this stamp set. And I'm just stamping it in the background. Now you could literally replace this with anything you want, because you can't really, I mean, you can see it, but it's not a focal. It's just the background. So you could replace this with snowflakes. You could replace this with, leaves. It really wouldn't matter. I opted to use florals because I love florals and I have a lot of them in my collection. But any background stamping you want to do would work perfectly fine. This is just what I chose to use. And I did mask off the back flap of my card base. I am going to work directly on my card base, which is also something I don't do very often. I do tend towards, creating layers and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't do that in this card design. So kind of a weird one for me, but I had a blast with it. So this card turned out super fun. And if this isn't a color palette you would use for Christmas, perfectly fine. Change the red to like orange or purple and make a Halloween card with it, as I think that would be really neat as well. I have some ideas that I want to reuse when we start doing some Halloween cards later this year that I think would turn out really cool with this kind of an design idea. So now I'm going to cover all of my stamping in some clear embossing powder. Mine is from Simon Says Stamp. It is a fine detail embossing powder. And then we're going to heat set it. So you're going to get this really cool look of the black on black with some clear details. And it's clear embossed details, and it's really fun. I did bring in a paintbrush and I just cleaned up the edge of my card base there a little bit. I saw some got stuck, some embossing powder got stuck because I had tape there. It was a low tack tape, but it's one of those things where it does like to stick wherever it wants to. So, and I was worried I maybe didn't get all the flowers at the top, so I did add just a touch more of the embossing powder. And then we're going to heat set it, and you're going to see how cool this looks. I mean, you guys know, if you've been with me for a bit, how much I love watching embossing powder melt. It is probably still one of the most magical things in card making, and I always enjoy it. I always love watching it melt. It's just such a fun experience, especially with something like this, because we're going, you can see the embossing powder. It's pretty much white really at this point, and then it's gone once you heat set it, and it just looks really neat. So I had a lot of fun with this card design. So it's kind of out of left field for me, but I hope you guys enjoy it and you'll tell me what your thoughts are. Would you create a Christmas card in this kind of style, or is this not really your thing for Christmas? I kind of did a more traditional card color for me with the white and gold card for the Christmas series. So I kind of wanted to do something completely different, but not rainbow, because I do tend that direction. But yeah, so this is kind of what I came up with, and I love it. And then for the sentiment, I used the Simon Says Stamp Christmas Blessings stamp set, and I just stamped out a different one. There's so many different greetings on that sentiment that it's just stunning, because they're all a mixed font, right? You get this really beautiful scripty font, and then you get just kind of a bold word with it, and I love how it looks. So I think I used this die set, or this stamp set. It has matching die set. I used this stamp set for every Christmas card I made not every one of them, but pretty much all of them, just because I love it. And there's so many sentiments. There's like 25 different sentiments in that set, and they're all this just really stunning look. So that is what I ended up reaching for pretty much all of my cards this month, just because I thought it would be really fun. And then I did die cut it out. As I said, I do have the matching dies for this stamp set, so I cut out the greeting so that I could easily adhere it onto that card front wherever I wanted to, because there is that really cool embossing in the background, so I don't want to cover a lot of it up with a sentiment, so I kind of wanted something with a little bit more of a low profile. And then for the focal image, I brought in the Tim Holtz Silhouette Birds. I think that I've only used this die set once, so of course I really had to bring it out and use it again, and I just thought this would be such a fun and interesting way to use it. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I used 5 different birds, actually 6. I am going to cut out another one in a little bit, because I wanted to put one on the inside of the card. So you only see me ink up 5, but I do actually end up working with 6 in the end. And then for a bit of variation on the birds, I did actually use some Distress Oxide ink. You could use Distress ink if you didn't want that bit of a chalky look, which is what you're going to get from the oxides, but I kind of like that different look. It's just a textural thing that I enjoy, but completely up to you as to your preference. But I brought in Aged Mahogany in Black Soot, and that's kind of what I did, just to give them a little bit of definition on the bottom of the bird. You don't have to do this. They were great as is. I like the extra added texture and interest, so this is just something that I lean towards. And then that's kind of how I gave them just a little more dimension and depth, so that the birds weren't flat. And the cardstock is actually the Simon Says Stamp Schoolhouse Red, I think the cardstock is named. Everything I use is always linked and listed down below. So if you're ever interested in something specific, it will be down there. So you can always go check it out if you're interested in seeing what it was or where I got it from. So this is where that little layer is going to come in. So this is going to give me somewhere for my birds to sit and break up the background just a touch, because it's just kind of a fun added layer. But I kind of brought it in mostly so my birds had somewhere to sit, so it didn't look like they were just floating in the abyss. Because I mean, obviously none of these birds are flying. So I do like to ground my images. So I used this as a way to have them standing on something so they weren't just kind of floating. So that's kind of what I was thinking when I added that border. And then now we're going to add in the birds themselves. So 3 of them, actually I think 2 of them are going to be adhered directly onto the layer, and then the other 3 I'm going to bring in some thin 3D foam squares, and I'm going to just mount them up so they have a little bit of something to kind of add a little more dimension to them. You don't have to do that. I like dimension in my card designs. And as a general rule, I never work right on the card front, so I thought it would be kind of fun to just add a little more dimension to it, to make up for the fact that I have really no layers or anything going on, which is really odd for my card designing. If you go and look at my past card designs, I pretty much always have layers because I love that look, but this is just a really fun way to do something slightly different. So I did try to have all of my birds looking kind of at the center of the card, so that your eyes would be drawn back to the greeting and kind of in the middle of the card design. So I did adhere my sentiment flat to my card panel, and then I brought in these thin 3D foam squares that they're black, and I'm going to use those to adhere up these other 3 birds. This is honestly, again, just because I like the look of the dimension. You could adhere them flat and this would still be a really great card design. But I think the dimension's kind of fun to add, especially when you already own the foam squares. So why not use them, right? But I do have all of my birds either, one's standing on the greeting and then the other ones are looking to the center of the card. And that was just so that I could have your eyes kind of move around the card and end the greeting was kind of the main thing you're going to look at. So that's what I was kind of thinking. But I didn't want to introduce any other colors. That's why I did the sentiment in silver, because I thought that that would be subtle enough not to take away from these bright red birds, which is what I want to catch your eye. And then, you know, you kind of move around it with the birds all facing into that sentiment area. So that was kind of my thought process behind it. And I have to admit, you guys, I love how this turned out. I am so in love with this card. It's so, so pretty. I did end up going in and adding a little bit of white gel detail. Again, this is just because I like that look. If you were a little more confident than me, you could go in and maybe draw the eyes. I opted not to do that. I kind of left them as just a silhouette with a little bit of, you know, differentiating the colors so that you have a little bit of a white highlight and you kind of have that darker bottom. But, you know, if you wanted to, you could absolutely go in and add some eyes to the birds. I just opted not to. I wasn't sure that my art skills were going to be up to that today, so I just added some white highlight detailing. And then I'm going to adhere that little white piece onto the inside of the card base so that the person would have somewhere easy to write. And then I'm going to add that extra little bird on the inside as well, just because I thought that that was kind of a fun touch. I am trying to be a little more cognizant of the fact that I leave my insides bare all the time, so I'm trying to be a little more exciting in that. I've been making cards for quite a while now, so I'm like, we need to do something that's a little bit exciting on the inside, right? So I've kind of been trying to do that, but it's one of those things where I don't always think about it, so sometimes I don't do it, but I'm trying to be a little more exciting in my card designs. And then I brought in these honeybee cool pearls. So they have these great black pearls that look kind of like the embossing. So that's kind of what I thought would be really fun in that background. So I brought those in. I added a couple around the design. I think I added like 9 in the end because I do like to work in uneven numbers, and I do try to kind of create like visual triangles because they are more appealing to the eye, that kind of thing. But yeah, so that's pretty much the card for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd love to know your thoughts on this color palette. Please tell me what you think. I would really, really like to know. I sneak peeked it in my live, and everybody had very mixed opinions of it. A lot of people said they wouldn't have used this color palette for a Christmas card, which is totally fair. You could easily turn this into a stunning Halloween card, I think. But I was trying to be outside of my comfort zone with my Christmas cards because, like I've done this series now for, you know, like 3 or 4 years. So I'm trying to kind of come up with really creative different ideas so you guys don't get tired of seeing the similar card designs from me. And hopefully you don't get tired of seeing my designs. But yeah, I had a blast with this card. And of course I needed to add a little bit of glitter to the birds because why not? It's a Christmas card. You don't need to do this step. Again, you could leave out any of the steps you didn't like here, but you did get to see 2 of my cats in this video because here comes Mist. She's going to sit here and see if we approve of the glitter that I'm adding. So that's pretty fun. But yeah, so that was the card design for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you will consider leaving me a like, leaving me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday, and we are doing live streams every second Thursday now. So the next live stream is on the 25th of this month. So make sure you hop in and come hang out if you want to. I'd love to see you. It's at 3 p.m. PST, which is 6 p.m. EST. So hopefully that helps. But there's usually a thumbnail saying whatever time the next live is in your own time zone. So hopefully that kind of helps you know if you're able to make it or not. And if you want to just jump in and say hi, I'd love to hear from you. It's always awesome to chat with you guys. And it just kind of builds like a really good sense of community. And I don't know, we've had a lot of fun in the lives so far. So the next live, we are working on a waterfall folio that I created that I need to get finished. So that's going to be pretty fun. I think it's a really cute cardstock with like gnomes and stuff. It's a Christmas one. So lots of fun. So I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. But yeah, I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye for now.